Okay, there we go. Hi everyone, hi and welcome. I hope you're all good. Sorry once again for being a bit late. I'm a bit late because I got back from the park with Lulu and she was quite muddy. But she's happy. She's a happy girl. She's popped back. So yeah, we drove over to a park and she had a good run around. She wouldn't leave without getting her sausage. She goes to like a cafe and she gets some sausage and she's got me well trained. She knows to go straight to the door and then wait and be like, we're not going anywhere, Dad, until I get my sausage. Ah, dear. Anyway, how is everyone? You all okay? Thank you, TK. Right, hang on. Got a coffee in front of me. Thank you very much, TK. So, you're done with your exams, Silent Kid. Oh, good. Good. I hope they went very well, Silent Kid. Yeah, I hope they went fantastic. Right, and I hope you're better, SD Peppers. Would I ever try Star Citizen? Maybe do some with Q? I did actually do some Star Citizen a while ago, but frankly, it was not ready at all. It was not ready for Showtime at all. Yeah, it was a few years ago. Hang on. Right. So, what's that? EX? You just finished watching the latest RimWorld playthrough. Oh, thank you for saying so. Yeah, I'm glad people enjoyed it. Glad people enjoyed RimWorld. Thank you, Alan K. Hang on. Just pouring a quick coffee. Right, so this morning, if you'll forgive me, I'd like to do something a little bit different. Just do sorry, bear with me. I'd like to do a just chatting stream for the moment. Plus, I do want to keep things relatively short because I feel I have a lot of work to do today. I've got to get back to some emails, I've got to follow up something with an electrician, I've got to go and talk to my neighbour about a fence, and I've got to edit the latest bullshittery. So, yes, I've got my attention drawn in several dozen different ways. So, I will save Disco Elysium for this evening. So I'm definitely looking forward to some Disco Elysium, but obviously Disco Elysium is quite full-on mentally, so let's save it for the evening when I can fully devote all of my brain power to it, if you know what I mean. Whereas right now, this afternoon, I've just got so many things I've got to try and put down before I can really, focus. Anyway, so just chatting. So this weekend, well, I've got a few things I'd like to talk about. I'd like to talk about what I did this weekend because I went to a garden centre with my mum and I did a whole bunch of gardening that I'd love to show you. I've got some pictures for a show and tell. I want to talk about the telescope, which is actually behind me, in fact. And before just to continue for a second, so if you are in England, if you're watching from England, or Scotland for that matter, but England primarily, and Ireland as well, I suppose, at 1 minute past 8 tonight, this evening, 1 minute past 8, the International Space Station flies directly overhead at almost 90 degrees. So we're going to have a flyover. So 1 minute past 8 this evening. If you're in England, Ireland, or Scotland, maybe set an alarm and just step outside and look up, because it's also at that time of the evening where it's going to catch the sunlight as it flies over. So it's going to look pretty fucking spectacular. Right. Anyway, sorry, I just sipped this coffee. I've got to talk about Star Trek. I really, I feel like I'm about to explode. I've just got all these things bashing around in my brain, and I have to express it. I know that I'm like 30 years behind the times when it comes to this, but I have to do it. This is for my own mental well-being, because take all of the modern Star Trek, Discovery, Below Decks, I believe it's called, Lower Decks, Below Decks, whatever there is, just all the modern Star Trek, just take all of it and bin it. Just bin it. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. All the modern Star Trek doesn't fucking matter because they peaked. They absolutely peaked in 1998 with Season 6 of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Holy fuck. Holy fucking... Okay, so, right. There will be people watching who don't know what's going on. So, what happened was, I decided some months ago that I was going to watch through Star Trek because I was bored, and I'm not a... I keep saying this, I'm not a Trekkie, despite art to the contrary. I'm not a Trekkie, I'm not into Star Trek. I've seen a few episodes of Next Generation, never seen the original series. I've seen a few episodes of Star Trek Voyager, mostly the good bits, as in the two good bits, as in the 2 good bits that are attached to 7 of 9. Those episodes. But beyond that, it's not for me. I just do not watch Star Trek. So I decided to start from episode 1, season 1, episode 1 of Star Trek Deep Space Nine because I was told that it was quite good. Season 1, a bit wobbly, quite a few bizarre episodes in there, like a literal episode where they're sucked into a board game, Jumanji style. It's like, what the fuck? What are we doing? There's so many just random, like, what the fuck is happening episodes where it's just stupid filler. Or, oh, Miles O'Brien is arguing with his wife, Keiko. And I'm just sitting there going, oh my god, just murder me, please. Anyway, all of this continues. Yeah, Alan Moraine! Jesus. Sorry, that's the name of the board game, or whatever it is. Thank you, Basoka, and Haynes, and Papa too. Thank you, all of you. Anyway, so what happens throughout Star Trek Deep Space Nine is that they are... So, obviously, they're on a space station, so the space station doesn't move. And what happens is, in Season 1, I'm pretty sure it's like Episode 2 or something, the space station suddenly gets extremely important because there's a wormhole that's just next to it. And the wormhole goes to the Gamma Quadrant. It's a completely different part of the galaxy. So, you think that it's going to be, oh, they're going to explore the Gamma Quadrant. No. The space station just sits there, right? It just sits there at the mouth of the wormhole, and yeah, maybe sometimes they pop over and see what's on the other side, but they're not flying around exploring. They're just dealing with shit that's coming their way, which is weirdly interesting because they can't leave. Politically and also strategically, they kind of have to sit there and deal with the fact that they're now this really strategically important exploration hub, right? So sometimes characters come in, sometimes they leave. Like Worf from The Next Generation turns up, and weirdly he stays around. He not only stays around, he starts fucking and then marrying one of the main cast members. And I'm like, oh, okay, Worf is staying, it seems. And yeah, hang on a minute. Right. So anyway, so the show is sort of setting itself apart because they're stationary. Right now, the episodes are continuing, Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, and then you're thinking, okay, this is... when does this get good? When does this show get good? Because I'm reliably informed that Star Trek Deep Space Nine gets good. And then, all of a sudden, they take this trip through the wormhole. Now, I can't remember what the reason is. I think it's in, like, Season 3. They take this trip through the wormhole, and they go to explore a planet, and when they do, suddenly they encounter this really, really powerful faction. And that faction is called the Dominion. Who are the Dominion? Well, they seem to be like an anti-Federation. And shockingly, they know everything about the Federation. It turns out that every ship that they've been sending through the wormhole, lots of them are getting captured and their crews tortured and then killed. Like, it turns out that for years, for like 3 seasons, the Dominion has been quietly shadowing them. And they realize this because they're captured by these enormous soldiers called the Jem'Hadar. And they're basically like, you're a Klingon. Oh, you're a human. You're from Deep Space Nine. They know everything. They've known everything. And they're thrown in jail with this woman, and she's panicking. She wants to get away from the Dominion. She's got this control collar. It's like a psychic suppressing collar on her. And she's like, we have to get away. We have to escape. And so episode continues. Blah blah blah. They escape and they flee. And they get back to the space station. This is Season 3, I think. They get back to the space station, and then they take the collar off her, and she's like, oh, thank you, you know, I'm free to go. And that's when one of the characters goes, like, they quietly scan the collar, and they're like, it's just metal. There's no technology in this. This is just like made out of iron or something. Because, like, Quark, it was trying to reverse engineer it because he wanted to see if he could sell it, you know, because of new technology. And he's like, there's nothing in this collar, Captain. And of course, like, they then point their guns at this woman and goes, okay, you're with the Dominion, aren't you? And she does something. She turns to the captain, and she may as well have turned to the audience, because she says, oh, you have no idea what's about to happen, and teleports out through their shields, I think. And that moment is that's the moment where all of a sudden Deep Space, like, you have no idea what's about to happen, because fuck, the Federation meets the Dominion, and what begins is the Dominion War. And it sort of peters up and down here and there, but the Dominion War is fascinating because the fascinating thing, and I'm guessing this is a budgetary thing, because they can't show the conflict, they're having to show DS9 sitting in place in a strategic position dealing with the aftermath of an ongoing war that's around them. And what's fascinating is that it lets the writers challenge so many elements of Star Trek. Like, okay, the prime one, thank you I'm a Rat and Modern Messiah, thank you both of you. And thank you Eternal. Sorry, can I just keep sipping coffee? So the primary sort of like crux of Star Trek is that, it's a utopia. There's no more racism. There's no more like sexism. There's no more like strife and hunger and pain. We fixed it all. And that was like the vision that Gene Roddenberry set up, wasn't it? It's like, everything's a utopia now. But here come the writers for DS9 with the Dominion, who ask the question, okay, but what happens if you encounter another country, another state, another empire in this case, who doesn't give a shit? You may be a utopia who values the welfare of their citizens, but what happens if you just fly that way, into space that you don't control, and you find that there's an expansionist, aggressive, xenophobic empire that don't care? They're just as competent as you are. They're just as willing to feed their citizens into the meat grinder if it means getting what they want. And that's the question that arises. What do you do when you're, with the Federation, everything's lovely, and then you're sort of, it's where the rubber meets the road insofar as your ideals. So what happens is, firstly, so I know I'm recapping DS9, you've got this faction called the Marquis. Who are the Marquis? These are the poor suckers who live on the border of the Federation. So in space, which is close to a different empire called the Cardassians. They're basically the Nazis. But like these people are having to deal with the fact that, okay, we're on the border with these guys. They keep attacking us. Federation, where are you? Where's the Federation? They're soft. They're yellow-bellied. They're too used to their comforts. The Federation doesn't want to risk war. Oh my god, war's horrible. We can't risk war. And they're not wrong in that. War is fucking horrendous, but like, it's that whole speak softly but carry a big stick. What if you don't have the big stick? What if you're the Federation and you've gone so fucking soft? What do? You sign a treaty with the Cardassians, saying, oh yeah, these planets are yours now, it's fine. Hey, look, peace in our time. We've avoided conflict, peace in our time. And the poor fuckers who live on these planets are now under alien occupation. Again, under the thumb of an alien race that doesn't give a fuck about your ideals. So what do? They become freedom fighters. They start fighting for their freedom. They become the Marquis. What are they to the Federation? Terrorists. And you've got this wonderful sort of black and white, not black and white, you've got this wonderful, wonderful smears of grey across Star Trek. Now, here's the thing, sorry, I'll get to this point in a minute. I wonder how well received amongst Trekkies DS9 has been, because obviously you've got this clean utopia and we're going to have moral dilemmas and we're going to explore planets, but the Federation is mostly just nice. But here you've got this situation where it's lovely and grey, if you know what I mean. There's lots of this moral ambiguity, and we're definitely going to get there in a minute. Sorry, I'm just sipping coffee. So DS9 is doing this great job, and I strongly recommend you watch it, of interrogating the ideas behind democracy, freedom, how, is it right to necessarily give up all weapons in it, can you ensure your peace and security without a navy, essentially? Yeah, liberty, it's challenging the ideas of liberty. So, first thing I want to talk about, in Season 6, there's an episode, and some people in the chat might know way more about this than me, so I apologize. I'll just describe it. In the episode, so the episode is called Inquisition, and the episode is just before the one that I really want to talk about in a minute. Inquisition tells the story, yes, I'll get to Pale Moonlight, don't worry. Inquisition tells the story of a character called Dr. Bashir. Now, Dr. Bashir, he's a doctor, he's a healer, damn it, all that stuff. And he keeps trying to help people. At one point, he's shot down on a Dominion-controlled planet, and he tries to, heal the Jem'Hadar. Why? Because he's a doctor. He doesn't see sides, Anyway, on the station, a sort of internal affairs division, I suppose, turns up, like an internal security division, because they have some questions. They think there's a spy for the Dominion, so they round up all the officers and they confine them to their quarters. And the episode is from the perspective of Dr. Bashir, and all of a sudden, they start grilling him. They really start grilling him. They think, oh, are you a Dominion spy? Like, you lied about your background to get into Starfleet, didn't you? He's like, yeah, I did, because he's genetically engineered. It's his plot, his arc, I suppose. Pochill, Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, Season 6. Sorry, I know I'm like 30 years behind. But anyway, then they're like, Dr. Bashir, you sympathized with the enemy. You tried to heal them, didn't you? Yes, I did. So, the ideals of the Federation are almost being, turned on themselves, if that makes sense, by this inquisition that's happening. And Dr. Bashir's like, I'm not a spy, what are you talking about? I'm not a spy. And then, all of a sudden, the Dominion capture him. They, teleport him out. And they're like, you're our spy, but we've hidden your memories. Or, you've suppressed your memories. And he's like, what? No, I'm not a spy. I'd never spy for the Dominion. Fuck off! And then, all of a sudden, there's a big space chase where, the Dominion ship is being pursued by the Defiant, which is a Federation ship. And they board, and they shoot a Cardassian, and they teleport Dr. Bashir out. And they're like, get him out of here. He's a spy, he's an evil motherfucker. And that's when Dr. Bashir, in this episode, realizes that, wait, this is a loyalty test. This is a hologram. This isn't real. None of this is real. And he's correct. It turns out that in this episode, Inquisition, they were grilling him as a loyalty test. The Federation, the good-hearted Federation, are running secret loyalty checks through holograms, through the holodeck, to test whether or not people are loyal enough. Who is doing it? Suddenly it's revealed. A faction. They're called Section 31. Out of nowhere, this section, and you think, okay, I know where this goes. Section 31 is going to be, the writers are going to get edgy. They're going to do that thing in that Picard episode, where there's that witch hunt on the Enterprise, when the reactor core slightly explodes or something. It's going to be, the Dominion War has made the Federation paranoid, and so they've made Section 31 in order to try and root out traitors. But then, big twist, no they haven't. Section 31 has always been part of the Federation. It was created in the Federation's original charter. It's MI5 or MI6. It's a counterintelligence agency. They've always been behind the scenes, assassinating and protecting the interests of, hunting out traitors against the Federation and its ideals. And that's where you're like, wait a minute, so this lovely sugar-coated setting, this faction, the Federation, we would never compromise our ideals, freedom and all that stuff, have been evil from, not evil, but have had this ruthless streak in them since the beginning. And they've got this wonderful thing, I noticed it, Section 31, their sign, the Federation badge, the Starfleet badge, they've got a Starfleet badge, but it looks like it's eclipsed by darkness, like they're in the shadows, they're moving through the shadows of the Federation, protecting them from enemies that they don't even know that they're being protected, because they're so autonomous that, and the whole thing, the reason behind the episode Inquisition, they're trying to recruit Dr. Bashir. It's a recruitment drive. That's the point of the loyalty test. They we could use you. You could help protect the Federation from the shadows. And, sorry, I just keep sipping coffee. So, it's fascinating watching this show start challenging the ideals of the Federation and the sort of the sweet saccharine way that the Federation has always been. And again, I wonder if Section 31 might actually be hated by Star Trek fans in general, because it almost feels like that sort of thing that, has been tacked on to the, like an episode has tacked it on for the drama. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But regardless, it's in season 6, and by the looks of things, it's going to, it's going to continue from here. But I just wanted to talk about Inquisition first, because, it's doing some crazy shit. Now, this is what I really want to talk about. Hang on. People who are hovering in the chat have known that this has been coming for a while. Let me talk about In the Pale Moonlight. In the Pale Moonlight is an episode in Season 6 of DS9, and it is the finest fucking episode of Star Trek I have ever seen. I sat there afterwards going, fuck! Like, sat back in my on the sofa, like, in awe at what I just watched. Because, and I apologise for spoiling it, I do invite you to perhaps go and watch DS9 in all its glory before, feel free to leave if you really want to go watch it. But a recap. Okay. So in The Pale Moonlight, Captain Sisko, or Commander Sisko, I'm not sure, sorry, he's in his quarters and he's doing a private log, not unlike the screenshot here. He has a drink in front of him, and he's doing a sort of, I suppose, like a one-man play, where the actor isn't interacting with anything but a prop, this cup. And in it, he's describing the events of the last 2 weeks in the setting. Because the Dominion are winning. They're really winning. They're absolutely kicking the Federation's ass. And at current projections, the Federation is going to lose, within a few months. The Dominion shipyards are at 100% capacity. They are, so it doesn't matter that they've been cut off from the wormhole by DS9 and its minefields, I assume. Sorry, I don't know if they rebuilt them, but I assume they did. Regardless, in the Alpha Quadrant, they are fully established. They're like a cancer. They've managed to get into the Cardassian section of space and take it over. And they are just breeding millions of Jem'Hadar. This is a faction that does not care about your ethics, does not care about your morals, does not care about, they will happily genocide a faction, anything really. I'm of the understanding that the Maquis are all dead. Like, the Dominion just fucking killed them. The Federation would do treaties and negotiate. No, Dominion just fucking genocided them. Didn't give a shit. Like, this is what you're dealing with. We're dealing with a faction that has no moral quandaries whatsoever. All that matters is victory. So, the Federation are losing. Captain Sisko is putting up casualty reports every morning on the war in the wardroom, and the staff of the station come along and they read the casualty reports. It's very Vietnam War, with the memorial with all the words on the wall, and every time they're reading them, and you see people bursting into tears, like, Captain, she was a friend, Lieutenant whatever, died in a ship that was ambushed. Everyone's fucking dying. And so Commander Sisko has a plan, because the Klingons are in the fight, the Federation are in the fight. One can presume that there are other factions, like satellite factions, they're in the fight too. But there's this very large empire that are hostile to the Federation, and they're neutral. The empire is called the Romulans, the Romulan Empire. And they are massive. They are technologically extremely on par with the Federation, if not in many cases more advanced. They are isolationists for the most part, but basically, they're the evil Vulcans, essentially. And they are sitting the war out. They're sitting the war out because they hate the Federation. They fucking hate the Federation. They've got the odd treaty here and there, but they're the skeezy, the fucking the evil, we're gonna plot over here type people. Anyway, yeah, exactly that. They're fence sitting, Legend of Mart. So they're watching the Dominion War. They've got a non-aggression pact with the Dominion, and they just want to see the Federation bleed. Now, Sisko reasons that the Romulans are going to get it eventually. Like, when the Federation is dead and Earth has been virus bombed or whatever the fuck they're going to do to Earth, when the Federation is gone, the Dominion are just going to attack the Romulans. But the Romulans can't see that. They can't, there's this wonderful moment in the episode where, like, Jadzia Dax, the actress, she, like, pretends to be a Romulan for a second, and it's wonderful watching her whole demeanor just shift into that of, like, a Vulcan. The actress, I mean. She, like, becomes, like, a Vulcan in mentality, and you can hear her, and you're like, oh, wow, it's pretty... Like, she's playing the part of the Romulan, saying, there's no proof. There's no proof that the Dominion are going to come for us. That sort of thing. Anyway, Captain Sisko decides that they have to bring the Romulans to their side. If the Romulans join the Dominion, it's over. It's fucking over. If they stay out of the fight, it's over in a few months. They have to join the fight in order to win. How? Well, Sisko goes to a character called Garak. Garak is a disgraced spy on DS9 for the Cardassians. And Sisko wants to know if Garak can get evidence somehow of there being a plot to attack Romulus or the Romulan Empire. And of course, Garak, the simple tailor, tries and discovers no, they can't. The Dominion are just too fucking... Their security is ironclad. There's like, he tried to reach out to some contacts in Cardassia. They all fucking died. Within 24 hours, they were all dead. So, it's at this point, knowing what he has to do, that Captain Sisko in the episode of Pale Moonlight decides to try and make a forgery. What he's trying to do is he wants to make a Zimmerman telegram. For those unfamiliar with the Zimmerman telegram, is Zimmerman, is that correct? It's in the First World War where a telegram was meant to be sent to the government of Mexico, I believe, that if they were to join in the... So from Germany, sorry. That if they were to join the war against America, then on German victory, Mexico would get a huge amount of their territory back. Basically, they'd take a huge bite out of America. Now, what Zimmerman didn't know in World War I is that we were listening. My people were listening. The English. We were intercepting and decoding diplomatic transmissions, diplomatic telegrams, including those of our allies. Why? Because we're bastards. We do that. We're English. And so we threw that little hand grenade at the Americans to let it explode. And it did. And it enraged the Americans, and rightly so, and then they joined the First World War. So what Sisko is trying to do is he wants to make a Zimmerman telegram. He wants to make a forgery that will trick the Romulans into entering the war on false pretenses. Yes, again, maybe in the future the Romulans will be invaded, but it's a fake. It's a fake, essentially. Now, what then happens is this wonderful descent, because, again, Sisko is telling all of this from his glass that he's drinking, from his drink, and it's wonderfully there's this wonderful visual metaphor, because he keeps trying to take a drink from the drink, but then pauses every time to continue his story. He's not drinking as he's acting. And what happens is, Garak recruits a criminal, a master forgerer, someone who can make holographic forgeries, and like a perfect one. Problem is, he's in prison, soon to be executed in Klingon space. Okay? So Sisko has to pull strings with the Klingons to pull someone who's a criminal, undisclosed crimes, out to DS9 secretly, and they do. So, that's a bit iffy, isn't it? He's pulling a soon-to-be executed criminal out of their justice system for Sisko's purpose. Next, it's revealed that in order to get this hollow rod, it's like a metal rod, you see, that the Dominion, or the Cardassians use, to record their secret government meetings, they need to bribe someone who's really high up in the Cardassian... they need to bribe somebody, and the only thing they will accept, the only thing, is Medi-gel? It's like a very, very rare, very special type of gel. And immediately Dr. Bashir he's enraged by this. He's like, we can't do this. Absolutely not. It's out of the question. Why? Apparently you can use it for some really shady shit. You can use it for, like, human cloning, for, like, virus, mass weapons of mass destruction. It's really fucking... Mimetic gel? Biomimetic gel? Yeah, something like... Yeah. It's essentially, you do not let this shit get out of Federation hands, because if it gets into the wrong hands, people are going to suffer. But Cisco does it. He makes the trade. He makes this awful trade, trying to wash his hands of, I don't know what it's going to be used for, in exchange for this metal rod, this recording metal rod. They need an authentic one, because the Romulans are going to fucking check this shit. They're going to really check this shit. If they find it's a fake, if they fucking find out this is a forgery, they could join the war against the Federation. It'd be the end of the Federation. It'd be the deaths of billions. So, they get the rod, and then Cisco discovers the criminal, that guy, he just attacked someone in Quark's bar. He literally just tried to murder Quark. Why? Because he was molesting some poor woman. The criminal was sexually assaulting a Darbo girl at the spinny wheel. There's a game called Darbo. It's like what's it? There's a roulette wheel type thing. Anyway, so the criminal was sexually harassing this poor woman. Then Quark stepped in and he fucking stabbed him, tried to kill him. And so now Cisco is obviously, Quark is enraged and he's going to press charges. And essentially Cisco then has to bribe Quark to keep his mouth shut. So you've got this wonderful thing where Captain Cisco, a Federation officer, is having to do some really, like, he's trying to do it for the greater good. He wants to make a forgery. Okay? He's freeing a criminal from a justice system of the Klingons. That criminal is a real criminal. He's a murderer, maybe a rapist, it's not clear, but he's fucking evil, and now he's bribing to cover up his crimes. And he's released the Medigel to a potential criminal, or like black market, whatever. It's not entirely specified. Anyway, sorry, for those joining the stream, I'm just waffling about Star Trek Deep Space Nine, because I saw an episode called In the Pale Moonlight, and oh my god. Yeah, the greater good. It's for the greater good. It's repeated a lot. So, they get the rod, they get the holographic rod thing, and they bring it to the criminal, and he makes a forgery of the Dominion high command, saying, when will the invasion of Romulus begin? Oh, it's too soon. We can't do it yet. Yes, but like they're bickering in a meeting room, essentially. It's just holograms. It's not real. And they're like, okay, good. It looks authentic. Let's take it. So they commit it to the recording. They make the forgery. And then Cisco threatens. He outright threatens, like grabs this alien who made the forgery, bashes him against the bulkhead, and says if there's even the slightest flaw, he's gonna like hand him back over to Galron, like the leader of the Klingons, and like tell him he's gonna like to take his time with you, like to execute him. Like Cisco's going completely to the fucking dark side here in the name of the Federation. So, sorry, Melicorn. So anyway, but then what happens is, okay, what do we do with this? How do we convince the Klingons that this is real? Klingons, sorry, the Romulans. So then, Garrick suggests that they get a senator. Who? Which senator? A senator who's friendly to the Dominion. Why? Because if they can convince a senator who is friendly to the Dominion that this is real, they can convince anybody. If they pick some Romulan who already doesn't like the Dominion, this is not going to fly. They need, according to Garrick, someone who is already sort of in bed with the enemy. Thank you, Purdy, and thank you, Pink. Thank you very much. So, they invite the senator to the station, but crucially, it's a diplomatic mission to a different location. The senator is going to a different planet, and they convince him to stealthily, quietly visit Deep Space Nine first. And so he does, in a little stealth ship. They've got these, the Romulans have these cloaking devices. They've got one on this little ship. And so the stealth ship lands on DS9, removes its cloak when it's in the hangar. No one knows the senator is there. And the senator, the Romulan senator, is like, oh, the war isn't going too well, I see. You know, he's an arsehole. Because he's not with the Dominion by any measure, but he's sort of, he hates the Federation. He fucking hates the Federation. And so he's sort of mocking, like, Sisko, saying, like, I thought you'd be taller. You know, like, you know, you're the emissary. You're the man who started the Dominion War. You're very small. Anyway. Yes, perish the thought of Romulan senator being an arsehole. So, here's the thing. They show him the recording. And he's staring at it, and he's like, I'm going to have to see that recording. And he takes the rod, gives it to the senator. The senator takes it, I presume aboard to his ship, plays it, and Sisko is sitting there obviously nervous. Because again, if the Romulans figure out that this is a trick, they will abandon, well, not abandon, but they will probably join the Dominion. If this comes out that this is a fake, they're fucked. They are absolutely fucked. And so the tension in the episode is so high. So high. And it's at this point that I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about an episode about 6 episodes, briefly talk about an episode about 6 episodes before this one, which was called, is it like Far, Far Away or something? Because Sisko, the actor that plays Sisko, is doing this wonderful one-man play with this cup in his hand, right? And the tension could never be higher. But then compare this a few episodes earlier, because it's almost like old Star Trek meets Deep Space Nine, because in this prior episode, Sisko is teleported back into the 1950s, and everyone's like, hey, wise guy, what you doing? You know, everyone's speaking weirdly, and they're all in America. It's like New York or whatever, and they've got like suits on. And the crux of the episode is that Sisko is trying to get his his sci-fi novel published, but they won't let him publish it because he's a black man in the 1950s, and like white readers don't want to read about a black captain, because he's like writing a sci-fi story where it's a black captain on DS. He's writing DS9. But what's fascinating comparing these two episodes is that in both episodes, Sisko, I don't know the name of the actor. What's the name of the actor? Sorry. The actor that plays Sisko is doing like this wonderful, like incredible, like powerful acting performance. Avery Brooks. It's magical. You're watching, you're like, oh my god! It really is a stirring performance. But in that episode, it almost feels like old Star Trek in the sense that, you know, it's a moral quandary, and it's a message, obviously, because Star Trek has always tried to, well, sci-fi in general has always tried to hide sort of current affairs under space paint, you know, like, let's talk about euthanasia. How do we do that? Oh, we just set up a planet where, they have to kill themselves when they reach the age of 21 or something. Oh, that's fine. And then you can talk about euthanasia without people at home feeling like squirming uncomfortably in their seats, if you know what I mean. So that's the whole strength of sci-fi. You can just dress it up a little bit and talk about some really hot button issues. But anyway, the point that I'm getting at is that in that episode, the old one in the 1950s, you've got, it almost feels like it's a good message, and it's a strong message about, you know, I'm a person, you know, he's breaking up, I'm still a person despite the colour of his skin. But in this one, in the pale moonlight, it's almost like it's engaging with stakes that are so much higher, because DS9 has set up this war, and they've slowly let it build and build and build, like moment to moment. And like the tension has been stretched like it's a Tarantino film or something, just constantly getting worse and worse and worse, to the point that this Dominion war has gone completely sideways. And so it's wonderful to see in the pale moonlight such a powerful performance from Sisko in like engaging with the stakes that could never be higher. And that's the moment that the fucking Romulan senator enters the room with the disc in hand, looks at Sisko and says, It's a fake. It's fake. They've seen through it. The Romulans saw through it. It didn't work. It's over. It's all over. Like, that's it for the Federation. They're dead. Everyone's dead. This senator is going to fly straight back home, hold this disc up like it's fucking Peace in Our Time piece of newspaper out the plane, except it's going to be the Federation tried to trick us into joining the war. Let's join the fucking Dominion. And that's exactly what starts to happen. The senator goes. Sisko is in a panic. What the fuck? We failed. Garrick's plan failed. It's a fake. We're fucked. Then, at the climax of the fucking episode, hang on, I'm just gonna, if you'll forgive me, I'm just gonna pause the music entirely here. What happens then is that Sisko is putting up the casualty reports, same as he's been doing the entire fucking episode. He's putting up the casualty reports and just waiting for this Gladius to fall on his head, just waiting for the consequence of this to just come crashing down and bring the Federation with it. And he's putting up the casualty reports. Captain this, Lieutenant that, this ship destroyed, that ship destroyed, casualties in the tens of thousands. And then suddenly, there's a new name on there. The Senator. The Romulan Senator's name is in the casualty list. And Dax brings that up, and because she knows nothing about this plot, none of them know anything about this plot. She goes up and says, a Romulan senator was killed. And it's like, Sisko's like, what do you mean, who? And it's like, it says his name, like Tolor, I think his name was. Is it Tolor? It's like, he's been killed. They go, that might actually bring the Romulans into the war, she suggests, absent-mindedly. Like this might convince them that the Dominion are bad. Sorry, Senator Vreenak, sorry. And it's at this point that Sisko puts the things together in his head, and he realizes what the fuck has just happened. And he storms out of the room. He storms down the promenade of Deep Space Nine into the tailor shop where Garrick, the Cardassian former spy, is, and punches him in the face because he realizes what the fuck has just gone on. This was a fucking ploy because the criminal made a fake that Garrick knew. He fucking knew there was no way that this criminal was really going to be able to make a convincing enough hologram to trick the Romulans, of all people. The fucking Romulans who specialize in being sneaky, sleazy bastards. And so what did Garrick do? He got a senator. He got a fucking senator from Romulus to fly all the way to the station quietly without no one noticing, to give them the fake recording, and then he put a fucking bomb on that ship. The whole idea was to just get an opportunity to blow up the senator's ship. And so as Sisko is enraged, basically, and not just that, Garrick has also executed the criminal. You know, the criminal that made the recording? So they're both dead. The criminal murderer guy and the senator are both fucking dead. And as Sisko is enraged at what the fuck has just happened, Garrick points out how this is going to look, how this really fucking looks. And he asks Sisko, what would you think? What would you think if you were the Romulans and you, on investigating this the debris of the senator's ship, and you find that you have a dead senator in one hand and you have a holographic recording in the other, damage from the explosion, so that any errors in the forgery, any fuck-ups in the coding of it can easily be dismissed as just a result of the explosion? What conclusion would you make? And Sisko points out the obvious conclusion, that on his diplomatic mission, this senator, because they don't know that he went to DS9, this senator found or was given this tape, this Zimmerman recording that shows the Dominion plotting to attack the Romulan Empire, and on rushing home to Romulus, which is what he was doing, he was beelining it straight home. The Dominion attacked him, destroyed the ship. The Dominion will deny it. Of course they will. They had nothing to do with this. But in denying it, in denying that they had any part in it, they will merely confirm their guilt in this affair, because it's exactly what the Romulans would have done in their place. And the moment, my God, sorry, I feel myself sort of welling up just like remembering it. The moment when Sisko lowers his glass and reveals that at 8 o'clock station time, the Romulan Empire declared war on the Dominion. Fuck. Holy fuck. Like, it worked. The false flag worked. And Sisko, standing there, raising his glass, still refusing to drink from it, saying that this is a win for the good guys. And in Garrick's words, because when Garrick said all it cost was the life of a criminal, a senator, and the self-respect of one Starfleet officer. And Sisko has done so much more. He has bribed, he has lied, he has let potential weapons of mass destruction out on the black market. He has fucking covered up the crimes of other men, and he's sitting there looking into his glass and saying, and the worst part of all of this, complicity to murder twice over, not to mention how soaked his hands would be in blood through the suffering that he's about to unleash on all the Romulus people who are sitting there neutral, even though it's a path, that it's meant to have good intentions. But yeah, his hands absolutely blood-soaked. And how the worst part is, he can live with it. And then he looks at the camera again and says, I can live with it. I can live with it. He's trying to convince himself. He's not even sure if he can. He's not even sure if he can live with the lie of what he's done to save the Federation. And then that's when he turns to the computer on his personal log and says, erase the log. Cut to credits. Fuck! It was amazing. It was the finest episode of Star Trek I've ever seen. All of the fucking modern Star Trek, bin it. Just fucking bin it. It's season 6 of DS9 peaked. It was flawless. Absolutely flawless. So yeah, sorry. I had to tell someone. I had to describe this. I had to get this out somehow because it's been bouncing around in my skull for like the last couple of days now. Oh, hang on. Zoob says Bashir mentioned biomimetic gel can be used to make explosives. In sarcasm. Did he say that? I thought he said it could be used to make like virus, whatever. Anyway, but point is, in the wrong hands, it's bad. But yeah, so fucking hell, it's so cool. If you haven't, so if you're tempted to, definitely watch Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Bioweapons, human cloning. Thank you, iPhone Ben. Thank you. But Jesus fucking Christ, it was amazing. It had lots of uses. The theory is that Garrick used it to make the bomb. Oh, really? Ah, now that you mention it. Garrick used it to make the bomb. That would be a Garrick thing to do, wouldn't it? Well, hang on. If that's the truth, then how did he get the rod? What's that, Flojum? The thing about Garrick's contacts being dead. Later in the episode, when Garrick hands off the data rod, he suggests Sisko says to the Romulan, 10 good men died to get this. Oh yeah. Garrick was manipulating them the whole time. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about, not just Inquisition, but the Pale Moonlight, where essentially Star Trek is having its morals tested through the crew, the cast and crew of DS9 who are stuck in this shit show. And the question is, I suppose my question is, what makes them different then? If your hands are soaked in so much blood, if you're willing to murder, to lie, to cheat, to bribe, to steal, to do whatever in order to win, what makes you different than the thing you're trying to fight? And that's the core of what makes DS9 so fascinating, so morally complex. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it, Sprycat. I'm really enjoying it. Anyway, well, thank you for listening to my rant, everybody. My rant talk thing? I don't know what this is. My thing, my watch through and first impressions of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Yeah. Is it worth watching all? Absolutely, Fancy Cobra. I haven't even finished watching it myself. I'm only on season 6, so yeah. Oh, shit. Sorry, let me just sip some water. My voice is quite... Exactly that, Exile. What good are your ideals if you can't protect them? You know? By Sisko's actions, the Federation will exist. If he did not take those actions, then there'd just be skeletons on the side of a rock once called Earth. But yeah. There's an episode with Bashir that has a similar sentiment. I don't know exactly when that is, so I won't say more. Sure thing, Basic. You're kidding, Zoof. The episode that I skipped has the second highest rating? The Visitor? Okay, I'll go back. But it was a Jake Sisko episode. Oh, fuck. Anyway, but yeah. So, hang on. I've got a few other things. I'm just sort of like... we'll keep talking about like DS9 for a minute, but I've got like other stuff to talk about this weekend. Ah, dear. Do I mean the episode where Section 31 kidnapped Dr. Badger? Bashir. Calypso. Dr. Badger. Yes, they did. Yeah. When they put him in a holodeck to sort of as a loyalty test. Yeah. Oh my god, sorry, can I just say, watching last night, so I finished watching In the Pale Moonlight, and then next episode, what's going on? I'm not even exaggerating. Next episode, they're in a holodeck, and it's the officers sitting around listening to an American singer going like, he's a jazz singer in Las Vegas, baby, and he's singing about the importance of love. And I'm just sitting there going, really? Like, all this amazing, incredible political shit to do with the Dominion War. And what's the episode about? Odo, you need to loosen up and find love. And I'm like, oh, fucking hell. Yes, you. So how do you do this, chat? How do you know his name? Like 10 people just said Vic fucking Fontaine. How are you doing this? I can barely remember his name. Because we're fucking nerds. Yeah. Well, and I'm not. Yeah. But yeah, no, I've been having fun with this actually. I've been chilling with this. As mentioned, sorry, if you're just passing through the stream, if you live in England or Scotland or Ireland, tonight at 8:01, the International Space Station is going to fly overhead. So perhaps look out at night at 8:01. Maybe set an alarm. It's going to look pretty fucking spectacular, considering that at that time the sun would be at the correct angle, so that the station should be really well lit up. But yeah. So, 1 second. Before I move on, let me show you what else I did this weekend. Yes, and Wales, sorry. Yes, you're right. Wales does exist, kitted. Yes, Wales does exist. Right. If you're in Wales too, look up. The director of the 50s episode is the actor of Sisko. Oh, really? What? The Faraway Stars, whatever it's called. Right, hang on. Let me show you something else. Okay. So, also, this weekend, I went to a garden centre with my mum. So, I took a trip with my mum. So, my mum is doing... Yes, I did tell my mum, by the way, that you sent... All the chat sends their well wishes, and she was quite touched to hear it. My mum has had abdominal surgery, so she's in quite a considerable amount of pain. It's a abdominal surgery that's... she's struggling with locomotion, essentially, so... She's gradually getting better, but nevertheless she's in quite a lot of pain. But she says thank you, by the way. So, this weekend, this was Saturday, I popped over to a garden centre here in Brighton and Hove, and I picked up some seeds. Also note that they're sitting in that green metal bowl, that sieve. Thank you, Psycho. Thank you, Komodo. And thank you, Warrior. And thank you, Kazuma and a Goat Ghost. Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry. That sieve there, I'll explain what that's for in a minute, but essentially, yesterday, this is what I was doing. This is my garden, or a piece of my garden rather, because I've got these raised vegetable plots, you see, surrounded by these railway sleepers. And so what I was doing is I was pulling out all the weeds, and then I was digging a great big hole. I was taking my shovel. Lulu is to my left, in fact. She's just sitting sunbathing, watching me work. So, it's obviously very hard work for her. And what I was doing was shoveling out all of this soil. I was turning the soil, and I was lifting up the soil from it. So bucket by bucket, I was taking it from here to here. I was sort of taking it from one bed to the other, and then I was feeding it through the sieve in order to get out the rocks and the roots. And let me tell you, I think about 2/3 of the fucking beds is just rocks and roots. There's so much debris. It was a nightmare. Just getting to the actual decent soil was such a pain in the arse. I don't know. I fucking up. My whole body just aches from lifting up all of these buckets of soil and carrying them over. It is hard work. It's a dark Ziggy. Way harder than I expected. That's what she said. Anyway, so yes, I was sort of going back and forth. What I was also doing is I was digging this great big trench down one side of it, you see. And then I was lifting the topsoil up and sort of burying it as deep as I could, and then sort of essentially shimmying the trench along bit by bit, trying to stir up the dirt as best as I could. Oh, sorry, there's one thing I forgot to mention. Sorry. Go back. Because, you see that bag, the brown bag, sorry. The brown bag, those are potatoes. I'm going to plant some potatoes. So not just the smaller vegetables. They are rocket potatoes, which is something called an early. They're a type of very fast-growing potato, which conversely doesn't store well. So maybe I made a bit of a mistake, because I'm not so sure how many potatoes I can get through as one man. Maybe I should have gone for something called a main crop, which is a type of potato that grows slowly, but also keeps forever, or like fucking for months and months and months. We'll see. Anyway, so yes, I was digging. Where is it? I was digging this because I was going to put some potatoes down in the garden. Now let me show you this. Fucking hell, how many rocks? Okay, granted, not all of that is rocks. There's some roots and also a whole bunch of these little, almost like clay just chunks of dirt that just wouldn't separate easily through the sieve. So what I'm going to do is bucket by bucket, I'm going to scoop up all of these rocks and soak them in water to get rid of the clay and get rid of the mud, and then get the actual chalky rocks and just get rid of them somehow. I'm probably just going to quietly put them in my backpack and just, Andy Dufresne them out into the countryside, just sort of sprinkle them around. Yeah, a bit of a nightmare. Also, look at this. Hang on. So I kept finding, this is like a root system, but it's weird. The roots are almost like under the gloves. It almost feels like balsa wood. They were so squishy and white and coming apart. So I think it's an old tree that used to be in where that vegetable plot is. So I think I was pulling up like chunks of like an old rotting tree. Yeah. So I've got a whole bunch of that as well, sort of pulling all this out of the vegetable plot and just trying to get a nice thin soil to use as, old tree roots, says Possessing. Had a ton of those. Thank you, Ace. Yes, I will let her know. She's healing very, very slowly. It was, pretty major surgery. Corgi says, make a mulch pile. Any waste vegetation left over from your meals, throw it in the pile outside. It will biodegrade into a nutrient-rich soil that you can put in your grow beds. See, I would, but we do have a huge fox problem. So if I do get a compost heap, it's going to have to be a sealed box that the foxes can't bite through. Yeah, there's a lot of foxes. If Twittenroo is still in the chat, I don't know if you're still there, Twittenroo, she will confirm that we have massive fucking foxes. And Twittenroo, I know you're still in Brighton, they are so much larger in Hove. Yeah, she's there. Hi there, Twittenroo. Yeah, I couldn't believe it, Twittenroo. I would take Lulu out for like evening walkies, and they were so big. I got a little worried at one point. I was like, if that fucking fox comes at us, Anyway, so yes, I found these weird roots. Then let me show you what I did next. Ta-da! This is one of the smaller grow beds that I've got, and I decided to. So that's the grow bed in its like I forked the soil a little. Sorry, I might be embarrassing myself here. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm poking the soil for a bit to see what happens. I've no fucking clue. So what I did is I forked the soil with a fork, fuck you. So yes, I stabbed the soil repeatedly to make it loose. Then I shoveled it all into a bucket beneath me. Then I took that stuff from a bucket and I put it through the sieve until it was all sieved and there were a few rocks in it. Then I put down a layer of compost. So I got some like multi-purpose compost, and I put like a layer about like an inch worth, I reckon. Then on top of that, I put a thinner layer of soil atop there. Then I made the soil wet by putting a hose on it until it was wet. Then I got these radishes. I'm gonna grow some radishes. So yes, I've got some radishes, and hang on, where are they? There you go, the itty bitty little seeds, little pretty little seeds. And so there, yeah, I took the seeds, and then I used an implement. I'm gonna let your imagination guess what the implement was, but I poked small holes with said implement into the soil repeatedly. I don't know if I've given them enough space. I have a hunch to say that I probably haven't, but we're all experimenting. We're just experimenting, really. And then I put little itty bitty seeds in the hole, like so. And then, yeah, covered them up. And then it's at this point that to the right side of the screen, there is a French bulldog who was waiting patiently for me to finish doing what I was doing because she wanted to cuddle. She insisted that she was going to jump from the decking onto my lap, where we sat in the sun as the sun was going down. Yeah, just having a cuddle, really. But yeah, in addition to the left of me there, so hang on a minute. So that's the itty bitty bed where I'm growing some radishes. I didn't take as many pictures on this time, but it turns out doing gardening and taking pictures with your phone, not easy, because your hands are covered in fucking dirt, and you're gonna get dirt all over your phone. But regardless, to the left of me, I have like one of these other grow beds. So you can see the other one from before on the top bed over there. But yeah, so I was making these sort of troughs, I suppose, and in those troughs I was putting compost in big rows because I was going to put down some carrots. I was going to plant some carrots, and I did. And then I marked where I planted them with those sticks, but my mum's getting me some labels so I can actually remember where I planted the carrots and what date and that, yeah, so I can, yeah. But also, look at, those grow beds are absolutely coming apart. They looked okay, but as I started digging into them, I realized they are actually decomposing. There used to be a plastic sheet between the walls of the grow bed, but even that is decomposed. The plastic's coming to pieces. So, yeah, it looks like I'm going to have to rebuild those, either personally or have someone do it. But, yeah. Hang on. So, some radishes to the right, some carrots there. Going to put down some potatoes and some onions and some runner beans. Yeah. So, that's what I'm doing. That's what I was doing on the weekend, and fuck, I'm exhausted. Mag says use pond foil that lasts very long. Pond foil. What's pond foil? Well, catnip. I enjoy. Frankly, I'm enjoying doing hobbies that have nothing to do with the PC. I'm enjoying fishing, and I'm enjoying astronomy, and I'm enjoying planting vegetables. Things where I'm not looking at a fucking screen. Because I spend all day, be it streaming or editing, just staring at a screen and not moving. Yeah. The only thing you're missing now is an annoying goose. I was thinking about that. And as I was lifting my bucket... Hang on. As I was lifting my bucket around the garden... Down there? Where is it? Nope. Not that one. Fuck, missed it. Here. As I was lifting that bucket and the sieve around the garden, I was wearing wellies... And I had a hat on, and I had a bucket in my hand, and I was moving like really slowly around the garden, like pootling around the place, like the old man from Untitled Goose Game. And I thought to myself, I'm that fucking old man, aren't I? I'm Ron the racist, going around his garden. Oh, fuck. Hi there, Rick the Dino. Hope you're well, Rick. Long time, man. Long time. Ah, dearie me. So yeah, that's what I was doing on the weekend. So Saturday was boring. I was just doing data management for the most part. I've got like 120 streams that have been uploaded to the closet, but they need to be put onto the... Well, they did need to be put onto the NAS with their notes, so that took all day. So, so I did that on Saturday. Then on, this Sunday, then I did the gardening thing. Everything's fine. Oh, sorry. Master says, given the telescope, did I see the lineup of the planets at the end of February? I did. I saw Jupiter, I saw Venus and Mars. I did not see Mercury and Saturn. I didn't see Neptune either, I'm afraid. So I saw only 3 of the of the planets as they moved around. Yeah. Was it Neptune or Uranus? But I tell you what I did do last night. Hang on. So as I mentioned, tonight at 8:01, the International Space Station is going to fly over at around 85 degrees. So if you look to the horizon, that's 0. Point directly up into the sky, that's 90. So that basically means it's almost an overhead. It basically goes overhead. So if you're in England at 8:01, you will see it fly overhead. Last night, it also did a flyover. It did a flyover at 7 UK time, and so I decided to get my Dobsonian out and see if I could see the International Space Station. Didn't go well. Fuck, that thing is moving quickly. Yeah, no. That did not work at all. Hang on. The International Space Station is moving at around, roughly, give or take, 5,000 miles per hour, moving southwest to northeast. It covered that distance, that's the entire fucking sky, in about 4 minutes. That is fucking fast. If you look at it tonight, you will look at it and go, oh, I kind of see how how Soviet trying to point his giant telescope at something moving that quickly might be rather tricky. Yeah, I had no chance. No fucking chance. Get some binoculars. So tonight, if you're around in England or whatever, get some binoculars, look up, and you'll probably have a much better chance. I did see it briefly scream past the lens a few times, but I couldn't really make out any fine details. Thank you, Proto Bob. Thank you very much, Proto. Am I off, Chateau? I thought it was around 5,000 miles per hour. Am I completely off? Hang on. Let me Google it. You may be not very confident now. How fast? It says here... Oh, I am way off. I apologize massively. 5,000? No, it's moving at 17,000 miles per hour. My bad. Why did I think 5,000? Strange. I'm way off. I apologize. 17.5 thousand. Okay. Right. Yeah, too much Kerbal. Yeah, I'm way off. But yes, so anyway, it's moving real fucking quickly. And tell you what I did do. When it flew overhead, I told Lamram. I told Lamram that it was coming. And I told him to get his son outside. And so his little son apparently stood looking up with him. And I told his son that if you wave, the astronauts will see you. And he was like, ah. So yes, this evening, again, 8:01. If you have some kids, shuffle them outside and have them look at the International Space Station. It's pretty damn cool. It looks really, really cool. Yeah, that is. Gruesome says, shuffle them outside and then lock the door. No, don't do that. Fuck. But yeah. Right. It's not. There's nothing wrong with. Sorry, technically, I have you know that the astronauts will see you. They'll see England at least. What's that, Oz? You started watching Hibane. Good. Yes, indeed. It's weirdly slow, isn't it, Ards person? Yeah. It's good, isn't it? It's almost. Sorry, Ards person. It almost tricks you, doesn't it? Hi, Bane Renmei. The show almost tricks you. You forget that, oh wait, well, you know, it starts playing with heavier material. Yeah, do give it a finish, definitely. Thank you, Yanox. Thank you very much, Yanox. That's true. What is the... Let's have a look at the weather this evening in England before I tell everyone to rush outside. What does the weather look like this evening? According to the Met Office satellite, this evening at around 8 o'clock, little misty clouds. You'll see it. Yeah, shame. The clouds completely clear off of England by 5 in the morning tomorrow. No, you should see it. You should see it. Those are really thin clouds. You'll see it. Okay. Right. Looking at the time, everybody. Sorry, yeah, I would like to go and get on with work today. But thank you for joining me for my just chatting. It wasn't really a rant. It was me talking about gardening, me talking about the telescope, the International Space Station, but mostly me talking about Star Trek Deep Space Nine. My throat actually hurts. Hang on. Sorry, I just did it. Hang on. Yeah. Rambling repeatedly. Right. So, now I've got to go and finish, to the best of my ability, SWAT 4/Ready or Not bullshittery. The video is entering its quality assurance /phase 2 part of the editing, which means that end to end it's mostly edited. I'm touching wood, because I'm lying. There are some bits towards the end. The last 2 minutes isn't done. I need to do the last 2 minutes. So, yes, I need to finish it and then get it through, start polishing it, basically. So, thank you again. Have a lovely, lovely afternoon. I will see you this evening for Disco Elysium. So, until then, I have a shit ton of work to do. Thank you for subbing Storm, Yinox, Protobob, UK Ronin, and Anna from the Shire. Let me leave you in the company of a particularly weird woman. This is Ruru. I can't even begin to explain. And what the fuck is she doing? She's doing weird shit. I'll leave you with Ruru doing weird shit. Thank you again, everyone. Have a good afternoon.